All right. Lastly, a little bit on the permanent fund. It's almost as if we spent the whole time on our debt service and capital projects fund. All right. Well, revenue sources for the permanent fund. Remember, this is best example. Let's say you are a super wealthy, super successful member of your community. You come back and say, "Here's $1 million." You can't do anything with the principal, but the government can spend any interest made on it. And generally, you're going to tell them what they can do with it, like build a baseball field. We use the permanent fund to record a pool of resources in the hands of the government that are legally restricted. The restriction here is that only earnings and not the principal. So you can invest it and earn dividends, interest. Only those earnings can be spent. Permanent funds are essentially non-expendable trusts and may be used for endowments governed by a formal trust agreement. So all this is saying is basically this is like we're back in non-for-profit again, right? It's like we're back in non-for-profit, and this is a big contribution that you can only use earnings on. And that would be revenues for the permanent fund. Now, what about expenditures for the permanent fund? Expenditures for the permanent fund are those costs incurred in operating for its purpose. Wouldn't you know it? I mentioned the baseball field, so baseball field maintenance costs. There are two governmental funds that do not record encumbrances, and the rest do. The two that do not are the debt service and the permanent fund, because with these, there's nothing to commit, there's nothing to encumber, there's nothing to reserve. So nothing is done there. And lastly, here's a comparison between the special revenue fund and the permanent fund. Just another point to make here. So special revenue fund, what is available for public spending? Well, this is the principal and interest. The difference, like these are earmarked. These are both earmarked restricted funds, right? Special revenue gets a bunch of money from maybe that special liquor tax or a red light camera fund. Permanent fund gets it, say, again, from the wealthy individual, or it could be, anything else, right? It could be any other instance in which we get a lump sum of money that we just, doesn't even have to be a lump sum. It's just something that we can only use the interest on. I'm just trying to paint a picture, right? I'm not trying to mislead you. I'm just painting a picture as to what a clear example is going to be for the test. So special revenue, we can spend it all, right? Go free, go wild, spend all that money, go nuts. But for permanent fund, we can only spend that interest. The principal must stay reserved.